there. And so Yahuwah says, no, I'm not. I'll spare it for 50, 50 righteous, for their sake. So here's Abraham pleading with Yahuwah, saying, Yahuwah, you aren't going to destroy the righteous people that live in the city too, are you? That's not the way a righteous deity would act. If there's 50 righteous people there, will you spare the city? And Yahuwah answered, if there's 50 righteous people, I'll spare the city. Then Abraham said, what if there's 45 righteous people? Will you spare the city? If there's 45, I will spare the city. Abraham negotiated with Yahuwah all the way down to 10 people. If there were 10 righteous people, Yahuwah would spare the city. Abraham could have gone all the way down to one righteous person, and that would have been Lot. There was one righteous person in the city, and Yahuwah would have spared it for that one. Without even factoring Emmanuel's atonement into the equation and forgetting the new covenant, which most Christians tend to do anyway, this passage shows us that Yahuwah won't destroy a city or a country if there are righteous people in it. It doesn't matter that what country it is, there are things in it that are completely contrary to the kingdom of Yahuwah. Nobody's country is living totally the way Yahuwah wants it to. Yet despite all this, there are righteous people now in every country of the world. Maybe. That alone ought to debunk much of this. Yahuwah is going to judge this country, teaching that's floating around the body of Messiah today. So I guess that makes sense. And the Messiah saying, hey, you got people down here. Don't destroy them because you have good people. In America alone, there are hundreds of thousands of righteous, born-again people who love Yahuwah and are seeking Him and His truth. They may not be dominating in every area of society yet, but they're here. Therefore, Yahuwah will not destroy America. However, we also need to factor into this equation the truth of 1 Timothy 2:5. So 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 5. Emmanuel is now the one and the only mediator between Yahuwah and man. He forever satisfied Yahuwah's wrath. In light of these truths, this whole pattern of Old Covenant intercession, begging Yahuwah not to pour out his wrath and pleading with him for mercy, does not fit the New Testament reality. Most of the spiritual warfare and intercession stuff that people are promoting comes from the Old Testament. They're taking the Old Testament scriptures and teaching them as if the Messiah had never come. Basically, they're saying, you be the mediator. You stand between Yahuwah and man. You plead with him to turn from his wrath. Don't allow him to judge this land. Well, the truth is that the Messiah has already done all these things. He is the only New Testament mediator. If you're trying to pray the same as Abraham in Genesis 18, you're standing against what Emmanuel has already done. If you're praying the same as Moses in Exodus 32, then you're trying to take the Messiah's place. You are acting as if Emmanuel has not come and his atonement wasn't enough. You're believing that his intercession wasn't enough, and you have to add to it. That is against Messiah. I keep moving because my leg is numb. Which That makes a lot of sense. We don't realize what all the Messiah has done for us. Even I am constantly learning different things that the Messiah truly did for us. We are told certain things in church. I don't know what denomination you were brought up in or whatever, but each denomination like focuses on one thing or another. And when we realize everything that the Messiah really did for us, we just sit back and we're like, wow, we didn't know that. So be led by the Ruach HaKodesh. Always, always, always. Don't believe anything you hear. Don't believe anything you read. You always have to be led by the Ruach HaKodesh and allow her to teach you and open your eyes to see new things. Always be willing to learn. I want to learn. I want to learn always. Every day I want to learn something. Which lately I've been so busy I haven't been able to, and it's really getting on my nerves. It's really upsetting. But I love to learn something new, especially when it comes to spiritual things. And I know I have a lot to learn, a lot, and it's very hard when you work. I work 40 hours a week and 5 days. So on my days off, I want to be able to just throw myself into studying and all, and I don't get a chance. And the working night shift, I should be able to. But it's like everyone wants to talk to me and talk to me about spiritual things and just life in general. And I'm sitting here trying to tell everyone, hey, I'm busy. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to work on my teaching. And it's like, they don't care. So I need to really seriously write a schedule out and say, hey, on these days, I'm not going to be able to listen. I'm not going to be able to talk to you. I have to study. So please pray for me over that, because I need to tell them, hey, enough's enough. I have to study. Yahuwah always is supposed to come first, no matter what. No matter what, he's supposed to come first. And in this teaching, they don't really talk much about, the healing and all. But you know how in church, you have your prayer meetings, and if someone's sick, they'll be all praying all night long, and all that is not necessary. I'm surprised he didn't say more about this, but it's like he left you hanging in this teaching here, this lesson. No, you don't need to. You need to, when you have prayer meetings, you're supposed to pray and cry out to Yahuwah for forgiveness and pray for truth and open your eyes and teach you and things like this. But when it comes to healing and, like this person's going blind, you're not supposed to like beg and plead Yahuwah all night. He has given that to you, and if you don't have it, then you get on your knees and say, hey, Father, give it to me. Open me up. Let me realize it is in me. And then you go to that person and you heal them. You heal them. You do whatever the Ruach HaKodesh says, and they will be able to see and be healed. If you do not have the power, or if you doubt it, then you get on your knees and lock yourself up in a room and pray. You will give it to me. Let me realize what I have in you. And if you have spiritual people around you, and if you don't have it, then you say, hey, can you pray for me? I want this. Which that does work too. I've seen it happen. you know. But it's very easy, to cry out yourself. And Yahuwah, the Ruach HaKodesh will come on you, and it's a great feeling. It really is. And each person, we have to realize each person has different gifts. And the scripture says that even though your main gift may be healing, or it may be speaking, or your main gift could be prophesying, but all the gifts are in us because we have Him in us. He is living in us. So if our main gift is like prophesying, but if someone needs healed, that healing is in us, we could give it. See what I'm saying? So we always have all of the gifts in us. Just we all have like one major gift, if you know what I mean. And once we realize that and know what's up, then we'll be perfect. I'm not saying perfect, but we'll be like perfect spiritually, I think. And even though I'm just learning, and I'm hoping and praying that whoever watches this is learning with me, we need to learn together. And if you know something I don't know, please, I beg you, please, you could tell me, talk to me. We could talk to each other and have open minds. And there's a lot of things that Yahuwah has taught me that I don't know how to say yet. So maybe you know how to say. And you could explain it to me. We could work together. And that's how the body of Messiah is supposed to work. We're supposed to work together, not against each other. If I say something that you don't agree with and you don't believe in, instead of condemning me and condemning my teaching, you go and you pray about it and see whether or not Yahuwah confirms it, and see if I'm saying the truth or not. And I can pretty much guarantee most of the time the Ruach HaKodesh will confirm everything. Everything. And if something slips out that is not from the Ruach HaKodesh, then let me know. Let me know, and I will fix it, So just don't condemn someone just because they say something or think a certain way that you don't agree with and you don't think. Instead of, coming against them because you were taught differently, you need to take it to Yahuwah in prayer. Get down on your hands and knees. Don't read a book, because that book, do your research on that. Pray about that in itself. You go to Yahuwah directly. Pray, and the Ruach HaKodesh will show you. She's amazing. You will see. Seek Yahuwah in everything. Everything you read, everything you hear, everything you think, everything. Seek the truth in Yahuwah. And the Ruach HaKodesh is here to show you what's true and what's not. Completely. So even on my certain things that I post, I always, try to say, hey, instead of coming against me and fighting me, which a lot of people do, a lot of people, they're just stuck in religion. Even those coming out of religion, they still hold on to parts of the religion, parts of, what they've been taught. And when we leave religion, we're supposed to leave it completely and seek the truth. And a lot of people don't want to do that. They want to like seek the truth, but then they want to bring their religion with it, and they think that's going to work, and that's not. So whenever I post certain things that are contrary to what they believe or they think or they were taught, they always seem to like come after me. And I'm like, no, I don't like this. But it happens. And I keep telling people, hey, you have to pray about everything I say. Pray. You don't believe me? That's okay. Pray about it. And I'm amazed at so many people that refuse to pray about it. They refuse to ask Yahuwah promptly. They refuse. And I'm like, really? If you say you are a believer, then why don't you ask the Father Himself? I just don't understand that. I really don't. And I know I've gotten way off course on the teaching. I wanted to say more about the teaching, but then I said all kinds of other stuff. So I'm sorry. I did want to wait a little bit because the time switches over to another teaching at like 33 minutes. And I don't understand why it's doing that still. It can't be memory because right now I'm not having memory problems. So I really don't understand what's going on with that. But for some reason it's doing two teachings and they're both being saved to my memory card. So I really don't understand. Something bit me. I don't understand why it's keeping doing this. So my next teaching, hopefully it's all here in my heart. So hopefully, when I get a chance to sit down and actually get it out of me and put it on the computer, I will be able to, get it done quick. I was trying to work on it the other night, another day, and then it's like all the kids would come in and then everyone just starts messaging me. I'm like, wait, what's up? So I know we each need prayers for something and maybe the same things. We need our quiet time to where we can meditate and we could study and research and write. Some people write books, some people write teachings, and I would like to do both. But it's hard when you can't really do much. So pray for me for this. We need a bigger house. We really need a bigger house. And I need a room so I could close the door and lock it and say, okay, this is my study time. I'll put a sign on my door saying my study time. Leave me alone. Okay, and let's see. I do have many prayer requests from Facebook, so I want to lift them up. There's so many I can't name off, all the names. So just remember my friends from Facebook. There's a lot of needs. People really need clothes, food, healing. They need spiritual healing, physical healing. You name it. I have friends wanting prayer. So please keep my friends in your prayers, and I'll keep you in my prayers. And like I said before,